Have you heard about PIRA, progression independent of relapse activity? It's a concept that's gaining a lot of attention recently, and I wanted to make a video to share with you what it is and some things that we can do that might help prevent it. There's something that's happening in the background that may be causing our MS to worsen, symptoms to become more challenging, and disability to accrue. PIRA is sometimes also referred to as smoldering MS. It's the subtle worsening of our disease without a defined relapse happening. We could have stable MRIs with NEIDA, no evidence of inflammatory disease activity, no new lesions, yet we're getting worse. I first heard the term smoldering MS through a blog written by Gavin Giovannoni. He's a neurologist out of London who writes a blog called the MS Selfie, and I will link it below so you can check it out. There's research ongoing about PIRA, and there's a theory that it may have to do with brain atrophy. People with MS have brains that shrink faster than the general population. Everyone's brains shrink as we age, but unfortunately, we excel at it. In this paper on the topic of PIRA, they state, PIRA has been shown to occur in both progressive forms of MS and relapsing MS. Although not confirmed, it is theorized that PIRA might be correlated with increased diffuse neuroaxonal loss, brain shrinkage. And in this paper, co-authored by Dr. Giovannoni, it states there could be several drivers of smoldering MS, including innate immune activation, demyelination, adaptive immunity, aging, infections, including the Epstein-Barr virus, and lifestyle factors. Yeah, it's a lot of factors that could be associated with smoldering MS. The paper goes on to conclude, we therefore need to go beyond no evident inflammatory disease activity and focus on other pathological processes in the end organ, brain and spinal cord, in order to delay or prevent the slow loss of neurological function in people with MS. In addition, a holistic approach to the management of MS is needed by targeting other processes that have been shown to impact on brain health. Okay, this is a lot, I know, and it sounds kind of scary. And even after all these years of living well with MS, there's still a little bit of fear of the unknown. Will my MS progress? Will I become disabled? Will I lose who I am? Fear, especially when we're newly diagnosed, is very common. I remember fearing that I would lose my ability to walk, to care for my family, to care for myself, to work, to think. Fortunately, that fear has mostly subsided as the years have gone by. What helped me the most was learning about MS, learning about treatments, and learning how I could change my diet and lifestyle to support my body to be as healthy as possible. Knowledge is power. Now that we know about PIRA or smoldering MS, what can we do about it? Excellent question. Knowing that PIRA can happen empowers us. It gives us information about our condition so we can take steps to minimize it. There are things that we can do to promote brain health and slow brain volume loss. As the paper on smoldering MS concluded, a holistic approach to the management of MS is needed. We need to look at our whole lives and make changes to support our body and live as healthy as we can. Let's start with cardiovascular risk factors. Cardiovascular disease can affect our brains and lead to accruing more disability. There are things that we can do to reduce our risk of cardiovascular disease. If we can reduce our risk for hypertension, high cholesterol, diabetes, and being overweight, we can reduce our risk of accruing disability too. One of the best things we can do is to eat the healthiest foods possible to support our bodies. I believe this to be a whole food, plant-based diet. Two books that I found super helpful that support this are Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease by Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn and The China Study by T. Colin Campbell, and I will link both of these below if you would like to check them out. I also took a class with Dr. Esselstyn at the Cleveland Clinic on preventing and reversing disease with dietary changes. If we feed our bodies the most nutrient-dense foods we can find and remove the highly processed and unhealthy foods, we can reduce our risk or prevent cardiovascular disease. Next is embracing a lifestyle that includes regular exercise. Exercise will improve our brain health. In fact, Exercise has been called the single most effective non-pharmacological treatment for MS. I've heard it referred to as magical. Find a type of exercise you enjoy and do it. Try to mix it up with cardio and strength training if you can. We need to keep moving so we can keep moving. My body loves yoga and responds really well to it. I also walk daily, take Zumba classes, and do light weights. What kind of exercises do you do? Let me know in the comments below. Next is getting good sleep. If you saw my last video on sleep, you know how important it is to our brain health. I will put a link above and below if you would like to check it out. We need good sleep so our bodies can clean out the junk from our brains and our entire central nervous system. Getting good sleep also helps with our circadian rhythms, and this may help regulate our body systems, including hormones, blood pressure, blood glucose, and our temperature. And it may help our medicines to work better too. Next is mindfulness and kindness. Adding mindfulness to our lives will help reduce stress, and it may reduce hypertension and high blood pressure, which in turn will make our brains happier and healthier. Practicing mindfulness and kindness reduces the stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline and increases the feel-good hormones like dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. I invite you to add mindfulness or a meditation practice to your daily routine. There are some awesome apps that you can try to help with this, and I will put links in the description below to those. Next is not smoking. Smoking has general negative health effects, but it also increases the risk of MS progression. It has been shown to have direct links to MS disease activity. Cigarette smoke has compounds that are toxic to our neurons and influence our immune function. There's been a lot of research showing a clear negative effect on MS and the course of our disease. If you smoke, please try to quit. Work with your healthcare professionals, as there are many programs that can assist with this. Developing disability independent of relapse is a pretty common way that we're accruing disability. What we are seeing is that even though we're not having an attack, we are progressing. So it's important that we take exquisite care of ourselves, that we do things to support brain health. What steps will you take to support your brain health? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please hit the like, the thumbs up under the video, subscribe if you're not already so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and sign up for my newsletter where you'll receive more updates and recipes to help you live well with your MS. Until next time, be well.